In 2009, a construction worker named Gary won $10.7 million in a state lottery. Reporters covering the story loved him immediately. Generous, humble, the kind of winner people root for. He bought his siblings' houses, paid off his parents' mortgage, funded a nephew's college tuition, and told a local paper that the money would never run out in 3 lifetimes. 12 years later, Gary was working a warehouse shift for $17 an hour, the money gone. Most of it spent on houses, cars, and loans to friends that were never repaid. Gary's story is almost a cliché at this point, and that's precisely what makes it worth examining closely. Research from the National Endowment for Financial Education and multiple academic studies on lottery winners has found that a striking share of large jackpot winners, in some estimates approaching a third, file for bankruptcy or exhaust their winnings within a handful of years. This happens across income brackets, education levels, and prize sizes. It isn't a story about lottery winners being unusually reckless people. It's a story about what happens when a large sum of money arrives before the behaviors required to hold on to it have ever been built. Money, it turns out, doesn't change behavior. It amplifies whatever behavior already exists. Someone who has never developed the muscle of delaying gratification, tracking spending, or saying no to a friend's request for a loan doesn't suddenly develop that muscle because a check arrived. The absence of financial discipline was always there. A windfall simply removes every obstacle that used to slow the consequences down. Contrast this with a woman named Linda, a hospital receptionist earning $46,000 a year for most of her career, who invested $150 a month into a simple index fund starting at 28 and never received a windfall of any kind. By 63, consistent contributions and reinvested growth had built an account worth just over $410,000, a number Linda reached the same way she'd built every other part of her financial life. One small, boring, repeated decision at a time. Linda never had a single dramatic financial moment. She built the exact behavioral muscle, patience, restraint, consistency, that Gary's windfall gave him no reason to ever develop. This is the part of investing that windfalls, inheritances, and lottery jackpots consistently reveal, and slow, steady saving consistently builds. The size of the sum arriving in your life matters far less than whether you've already built the habits required to hold on to it and grow it. A large amount of money handed to someone without those habits tends to evaporate on a predictable timeline. A modest amount of money invested by someone who has built those habits tends to compound into far more than most people expect, precisely because the behavior, not the initial windfall, was always the actual asset. Gary still says, when anyone asks, that he doesn't regret spending the money the way he did. Linda has never once described her retirement account as remarkable because to her, it was never anything more than $150 a month, moved automatically, for 35 years. One of them was handed $10.7 million and kept almost none of it. The other built $410,000 from a receptionist's salary and never had a single moment of luck to explain any of it. The difference was never the amount of money they received. The difference was the financial habits they had built before the money arrived. Money is not the skill. Managing money is the skill. A large income without discipline creates temporary comfort. Small income with strong habits creates lasting wealth. The real asset was never the money itself. The real asset was the person who knew what to do with it. Financial freedom is built through repeated choices, not one lucky moment,